Good afternoon. Hope you all are doing well today. I need to adjust this my lights. Okay. All right. You're welcome to another insightful episode of Property Matters. In case you're coming across this, my name is Adejare, your real estate investment broker here in the beautiful city of Lagos, Nigeria. So I'm both live on YouTube and also on my Facebook. Thank you for joining me today. I really want to appreciate um, your time. And I'm also going to be discussing something very, very crucial today. And I've been working so hard. And trust me, the requirement now for doing a lot of things for real estate investors has taken me off so many things. And of course, the reason for that basically is due to the fact that I want all my real estate investors to have the very best. So right now I'm at our Ibeju Lekki office, and I'll also be going out of this live session very soon. I also want us to quickly discuss something that is very, very important. In case you're coming across this live, please do well to share this video. And in case you are a returning subscriber, you can also double click on this video and let us learn together. So I'm an active. So my mode of operation basically is that I spend the first 3 days in the Ibeju Lekki, okay, doing a lot of investment for diasporans. And let me quickly start by saying that I manage over over 50 investment portfolios. And a lot of people have been asking, how have you been able to do that? Well, it's the grace of God. Of course, I also have a staff strength, customer service and the likes who also attends. And in case you have been trying to get across to me, you sent me messages and I have not responded. I apologize. I've been on site, and I've been touring Ibeju Lekki. Today is Thursday. I've been in Ibeju Lekki, looking for good investment for real estate investors like you. And I've been doing this for the past 2 months. So in case you have sent me messages, I have not responded. Please, before the end of today, I'll give you a feedback. And if you have been trying to call me also, I'm also going to share my alternative numbers to you. I have several. Of course, this my business number is also active as well. So I would say let's just work together. So I want to say a very big thank you. In case you're coming across, just give us a like and share this video. If you have been following us for some time and you have not liked us, you have not subscribed, I honestly don't know what else I need to do to make you subscribe, because you see, this is where we dish out the very best and best. So I'm going to start today's live session by responding to some questions that I could not, I was unable to do so. So I'm just going to take 2 questions from our previous episode, then we go to today's discussion proper. So today we are going to be talking about the Ibeju Lekki International Airport, and it's the same questions I've been receiving over time. So someone said, how long do I have to wait, before I can start getting, the return and everything? So I'm going to be addressing that very quickly, and we're also going to be doing that. So in case you have sent me a message and I have not responded, I apologize. I really apologize. I'm trying to get a PA. Very soon I will employ a PA that is going to help me, make this work easy. That does not mean that if you send me messages, I will not respond. But there are some messages that it may take a while because of my busy schedule. Also, so let's talk about the Ibeju Lekki International Airport. So for some of our series that we've been talking about, we have been explaining extensively, giving insightful information on what you need to do if you are investing in Lagos, and I've shared investment tips and guides. So in case you are coming across this page for Okay. Okay. So in case you are coming across this page or this YouTube channel, um, you can also be part of this. Okay. So please be patient with me. So I got a question last week from an investor who has been buying real estate from other real estate investment um, company, and this particular investor actually asked the question that this Ibeju Lekki, all of you are shouting, 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 shouting. How long do I have to wait before I can get my return on investment? So today I'm going to be responding to that. Now, the good thing basically is that the airport project have actually started. um I'm also going to be doing a video, a documentary video, because you see now the airport official, the Lagos state official at the Ibeju Lekki International Airport right now. So except you want to shoot an illegal video, so there are some approvals that we need to get from the appropriate offices before we can do a documentary on the present construction of the airport. So I'm saying this and putting it out to you that the project have started. So what is being done basically is the landscaping and creating an access road. That is what is being done right now. So as soon as we get the approval, we are going to show you a detailed documentary on the airport project. And I honestly cannot give a duration of how long it will take government, okay, to complete it. But what I can tell you, basically, is that the project has started. So you need to know that, and of course, be excited if you have invested in those axes. And another thing you also need to understand as a real estate investor, basically, is that for the fact that the project has started, okay, a lot of real estate companies are beginning to now get lots of lands, and of course, and that is one of the basic things that we are happy for the fact that the project have started, and then there is massive development in those axes. So this is obviously something that should be applauded as well. Now the question I've asked is that how long do I have to wait? Now the first thing, my first response to this question basically is that where you have your investment will determine how long it will take for development to get to those axes. Now, when we are talking about the Ibeju Lekki axis, a lot of people don't even understand the major locations and landmarks in Ibeju Lekki. Now, if we're talking about the airport axis, we have established this several times that the airport axis is actually located in the Ayetoro axis of Ibeju Lekki. And you need to understand what are the environs, or what are the places that are closer to Ayetoro. And for these places that are very close, okay, to Ayetoro, what are the major landmarks on how long does it take me, okay, to locate the airport from where my property is. These are fundamental questions that several real estate investors don't understand. Now, when we look, so someone asked me also a question that now, for Eleko axis, okay, how far or how close is the Eleko axis to the Ibeju Lekki? So I'm going to start this video by sharing some major locations in Ibeju Lekki, and I'm also going to be giving an estimated duration or time it will take for you to access the Ibeju Lekki. And this video is going to be very, very enlightening, okay? So in case you have your pen and your paper, I'm going to be talking about the major locations in Ibeju Lekki, and we're going to be looking at that. So by addressing the major locations, then I'll be telling you how closer it is to the airport, or how far it is to the airport. So let's start from the very first place, which is the Ibeju. Now, many investors don't know that Ibeju GRA is the local government that starts Ibeju Lekki. Now, a lot of people used to think that Ibeju is under Etiosa local government. Ibeju is not under Etiosa. Ibeju is where Ibeju Lekki starts. So from Ibeju, down to the international airport. Now there's a good road, there's an access road right now. So from Abijo to the international airport is maximum 15 to 20 minutes drive to the airport. Okay, let's say 25 minutes, because the road is still in construction, like the airport road. So it will take maximum 20-25 minutes from Abijo GRA. So the next one is the Awoyaya, and from Awoyaya to the international airport is approximately 20 minutes. Okay, so we have from Awoyaya, then we also, so you need to know the major landmarks. So from Awoyaya now, you drive down, and the next bus stop after Awoyaya is the Oribanwa. Okay, so from Oribanwa, plus or minus 17-18 minutes drive, you will get to the international airport. And looking at other locations, Adeba, then from Adeba to Kajola, then from Adeba Kajola to the airport, roughly approximately, let's say, 15-20 minutes, of course, from Adeba. So these are the major places in Ibeju Lekki. So when you leave Adeba, the next bus stop is Kajola. Okay, then from the next bus stop, from when you leave Kajola, then you will access Bodije. Okay, many people don't know that exists. For some of you that are buying properties, Bodije is also a major town in Ibeju Lekki. Then when you leave Bodije, then you are going towards Alaun. Okay, from Alaun down to the airport, maximum 15 minutes. Okay, 15 minutes is not so far. Then from Alaun, then you go to the Alatunse axis of Ibeju Lekki. From Alatunse, then you can access Onosa. From Onosa, Babadisa. From Babadisa, Ayeteju. From Ayeteju, then you will drive down to the popular Eleko axis. Okay, from Eleko axis, then you will now drive to Elenrogbe. Okay, many people are not familiar with that. Now, as you're driving towards that Elenrogbe axis, the moment you get to Eleko, before you access the Elenrogbe, so there's also a place which is also called the Berekodo. Now, it now depends on where the airport is. So I'm going to be, so there's a plan to do a drone shot of these locations, and this obviously will help you, okay, have, a clearer understanding, because you see, the longevity of development is primarily dependent on the location. Now, when we talk about Ibeju Lekki, many investors have this holistic idea that everywhere will develop. Now, I'm not saying there are places that will not develop, or I'm not saying that there are places that will not, give real estate investors their return on investment. But when you are investing if you are investing because of the airport, there are some fundamental things you need to understand. If you are buying because of the airport, there are some important things you need to know. Now, a lot of people are buying properties within the international airport axis, and basically, to me, this obviously is a good sign that the Ibeju Lekki that used to be, a neglected area many years ago, right now is a prime location. But however, development will not happen at the same time, and that is why I have explained, I did a video where I was talking about some of the challenges of some residents of Ibeju Lekki. I gave instances of the Malete Alafia. I also gave instances of what they call the new road axis, if you're going towards that Betu axis of Ibeju Lekki. And I also did a video. If you have not seen that video, then I would say I will drop a link, okay, at the end of this video, so that you can check and have an idea of the pattern of the development of the Ibeju Lekki axis. Now, a lot of people don't understand basically that when it comes to development happens in phases. And another thing that also determines development is the ideology. Now, when I talk about the ideology, I'm talking about the developmental plan that the developer is selling to you has. Now, talking about the development plan, now a lot of people don't understand some basic things, which I'll be explaining in this video. Now, if you are buying in the Ibeju Lekki axis, like for instance, if your goal, okay, for investing in the Ibeju Lekki axis, there are some things you need to understand. And the first and the most important thing basically is that you are land banking, regardless of the price you are buying. Because uh, let's talk about the Eleko axis. Now, the Eleko axis right now is a prime location for investment. And there were times that when we used to access that Eleko axis, when we used to, do a lot of things, there were periods whereby the Eleko axis was an unwanted, location, destination at that time. But as I'm talking to you right now, the Eleko axis right now is a prime location. Now, how long you really have to wait now? Its development is dependent on two major things. Number one, the investment goal of you as an investor, and number two, how quick government is willing and ready to accelerate infrastructural development. Now, a lot of people have been talking about Ibeju Lekki since 2015. People have been talking about Ibeju Lekki since 2018. People have been talking about Ibeju Lekki since 2019. Yes, Ibeju Lekki presently right now is a massive region for investment. So if you are watching this video, if you are an investor and you are saying, should I invest in Ibeju Lekki? Yes, but don't invest anyhow. I'm going to say that. And of course, I'm going to explain some other things. Now, the development of how long you have to wait, ordinarily, no one can tell. Now, a lot of people have said, can I build in Ibeju Lekki? Yes, you can. Can I start residing in Ibeju Lekki? Now, for some of us that we are used to the European lifestyle, the lifestyle of good access road, constant electricity, good healthcare facilities, portable water, having, let's say, a wonderful environment. Yes. Now, it is not all locations in Ibeju Lekki that can guarantee that. So when we are talking about investing, it is very important that you understand the exact location and what are the major factors that will drive development. A lot of people don't understand that. Now, realtors have been using the refinery, the deep sea ports to advertise Ibeju Lekki. Now, what has the refinery and the deep sea port, what have they actually contributed to Ibeju Lekki? They have opened Ibeju Lekki to the global market. I was surprised when we drove down towards the airport axis and we found out that we have long vessels right now dropping and of course cargoing goods. So the airport right now, the deep sea port right now is a good alternative to the Apapa port, and it's a good thing. And the basic thing basically is that despite the fact that the airports have started, despite the fact that the deep sea port have started, the refinery have started, the free trade zone partially have started, do you know that some of the expatriates and larger percent of the workers, okay, that are residing in the Ibeju Lekki axis don't even reside in the Ibeju Lekki at the moment? And you may be curious to know basically that with the speedy development of the airports, why do I keep saying the airport? With the speedy development of the deep sea ports, of the refinery, of every other thing, most of those expatriates still resides in Ibeju. Many of them reside in Beachwood. Many are staying even in Lekki. A lot of them are even staying in Aja. Now, this is due to the fact that the basic fundamental of the basic apparatus that will make life easy or life comfortable for residents are still not there. Apart from the Akodo General Hospital and maybe one private hospital that we have in the entire Eleko Dangote axis, there are no functional hospitals in those axes for now. And if you want to get the return, or if you want to have a meaningful stay in a particular locations, I think you want to probably pay attention to healthcare, pay attention to good road. Presently right now, the road infrastructure in Ibeju Lekki right now is being worked on. Now, if you are driving towards the refinery, there's a good road. If you are driving towards Eleko, right from Abramadiswanya down right now, there's a good road network. So we are applauding the government for doing this. And of course, we all know that the coastal road has also started. So apart from good road, healthcare facility right now is still not up to standard in Ibeju Lekki, and that is why some of these expatriates don't reside, because if there is a medical emergency, the nearest hospital is very far, apart from the Akodo General Hospital and maybe one or two private hospitals that we have in Ibeju Lekki, which a lot of people have told me that it is very, very expensive. So for now, when it comes to housing, okay, now housing, basically the kind of lifestyle, or the kind of housing lifestyle that we have presently right now, you won't find them. Okay, their houses, though, their house. Okay, let me make this clarification. Their houses, if you go to Eleanor, their houses there. If you go to Eleko, their houses there. If you go to, let's say, Akodo, their houses there. But the kind of luxury houses, okay, that many people who have tasted the European lifestyle will so much desire are still kind of scanty. There are some, but not in more, and the available ones are very, very, expensive. So I'm explaining the reason why Ibeju Lekki is not 100% residential at the moment, and these are the fundamental things you need to know. Now, regardless of all these things, as a real estate investor, now that some of these facilities are not there, this is the best time for you to own your investment. This is actually the best time. See, I've had me making this video with you, okay, as an investor, have lands in Ibeju Lekki, though, and I still wish to get more. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is due to the fact that I have come to realize that Ibeju Lekki is the future. And the most mistakes that real estate investors are making is that majority of real estate investors are using the eyes of the present to judge it. In fact, a lot of people have even switched their attention away from Ibeju Lekki. Now, I have a project that is presently being done in Ajao Estates. And of course, for some of us are familiar with Ajao Estate. Ajao Estate is more or less like, let's say, 3 minutes to the Murtala Mohammed International Airport. And as I'm talking to you right now, okay, at the moment, for you to get a house, a 2-bedroom in Ajao Estate is from 120 million. That is, you are paying within 3 months. That is what is happening at Ajao Estate. Now, I've been doing a lot of house hunting for some investors who want to have a property in Ikeja. And I went to the Ikeja GRA, for some of us that are familiar with the Ikeja GRA. And one of the things I discovered about Ikeja GRA is that 2-bedroom in Ikeja GRA is over 150, 200 million. And what has made house to be of that value, okay, is strictly dependent on the fact that there's an airport very close to those houses. Now, waiting for development to mature before you own property in Ibeju Lekki will prove to be a regrettable actions. Now, I've said it before that for every investment you want to do in this Ibeju Lekki axis, everybody have a property of their size. Like, for instance, a lot of people have been asking me, so I have a question about a land concerning excision. In fact, when I started this particular video, I've gotten questions. Okay, so I'm going to be opening the poll, okay, for questions, and I'm explaining some of the things you need to understand if you're buying. So back to my conversation. Now, it will get to a particular place in Ibeju Lekki, if not now, maybe in the future, that 100 million will not be able to get you a well-furnished 3-bedroom apartment. Now, you see, the mistake many real estate investors are making is that they are playing the spectator role. Don't watch. Now, there was this diaspora investor of mine that came home last year, December. She bought a property from me in Ibeju Lekki, and we drove down there. You know, the joyful thing and the joyful interaction I had with this particular investor basically was that when she was coming, she brought an old friend of hers who is also a landlord. This woman has built pure properties in Ikorodu. She has property in Mowe. And I was very glad that, you see, if you are investing in real estate, you know, I've had this conversation with some certain people that when it comes to investments, probably in more especially in the area of property investment, there are some certain people you should not talk to. Because you see, the mistake most real estate investors are making basically is that majority of investors I've interacted with, many of them are always seeking counsels from people who don't own properties. You know, this particular woman was so excited that she bought the property. I took them there. In fact, she personally requested that we have to start the fencing and the likes. And you know, she was excited. And the friend, her whole friend that followed her for that inspection, was telling her the kind of structure she should do. And I was talking with her recently, and I said there are still other places in the Ibeju Lekki. Now, for now, a lot of people have given a 2-year projection. A lot of people have given a 3-year projection. A lot of people have given a 4-year projection. That maybe in 5 years, in 6 years, government will complete the international airport, a lot of opportunities. Now, the duration of which the airport will be completed, no one can actually give an accurate duration. Okay? So the most important thing of all, basically, is that you certainly don't want to wait, okay, for the project to be completed before you start buying. Now, the reason why you will get a C of O land now for 25, 30 million, or 30 million, 25 million, probably you see a land that is probably undergoing its final phase of C of O for 15 million in Ibeju Lekki. Now, the important thing that every real estate investor needs to understand, I made a video, I'll be releasing that video tomorrow, of some of the discoveries I have. And as I'm talking to you right now, the rental gain, because I usually call it a gain, the rental market in Lagos, okay, is getting to a point whereby people who earn less than 100, 200,000 naira, if you earn between 100 and 200,000 naira in Lagos, and you don't strive to have a property of your own, by 2028, by 2030, 2035, you won't be able to afford rent in Lagos anymore. You won't be able to afford Lagos anymore, because you see, the situation is changing. Now, a lot of people have expressed their concern. You know, I was listening to the news this morning, and they said the Lagos State House of Assembly wants to pass a law that will regulate rent, that will call landlords to book, that would, you know, regulate. The truth is, do you know how many properties that we have in Lagos? Do you know? So how many does government want to control? So where this game is changing right now is that without the airport in Ibeju Lekki, the value of property skyrocketed. And despite the fact that a lot of people don't even reside in Ibeju Lekki, people who understand investment are buying as many as they can. Because you see, by 2030, 2035, if you don't have a property in Lagos, you won't be able to do what? To afford Lagos. That's just the truth. So I won't be going into details of the video. So I have the video prepared. By the special grace of God, tomorrow morning, I'm going to be talking about this video. Will be analyzing rents. So our emphasis is going to be, we're going to start from the Lagos mainland, then we'll go to the island. So I'm talking about the revolution. So the most important thing is that it has been confirmed that there's going to be an airport in the Ayetoro axis of Ibeju Lekki. Dear real estate investors, Learn from those who made mistakes in not investing in Ikeja. Today, right now, a 5-bedroom duplex in Omole is over 500 million. Today, right now, a 3-bedroom apartment in Ikeja, GRA, right now is over 300 million. A 2-bedroom apartment in Omole, I said in Ajao Estate, is selling for 120 million. And the basic thing is that there were times where all these locations were ignored by some real estate investors. See, the summary of everything is that Africa is the future. So I know many of you are concerned about the economic situation, about the insecurity, about this and that and that. Now, if you keep looking at all these indices, you will be missing out on life transforming real estate investments. A lot of people don't understand, and I really need to emphasize on that. If you are a real estate investor, because an investor basically is someone who has an eagle eye. You should. So the question basically is that no one can give an accurate time of where the airport will start or when development will start coming, but we can categorically attest to the fact that Ibeju Lekki is the future. It is. I still remember when we used to go for site inspection. Then we buy land for Ibeju Lekki in that Folu axis for 500,000. Now Folu axis right now, the least you will see is 10 million. Odiomi that we used to beg people then in 2018, come and buy Odiomi, 400,000. Right now, the cheapest developer selling Odiomi right now is 4.4 million. And you ask myself, Odiomi is almost outside the outskirts of the Ibeju Lekki Ogun State houses. And the point is, people will still buy because you see the transformation that is happening. See, it is only in Africa you will still have opportunity to buy land in acres. It is only in Africa you will still have opportunity to buy land and decide what you want to do. If you go to developed nations of the world, you will even buy your houses and you may not even, control it the way it's being done. One of the reasons why you have to prioritize investing in Lagos basically is that there's no regulations. There's no price regulation. So there are tendencies of you buying a property for as less as, let's say, maybe 10, 15 million, and in less than 1 year, they are using 30 million to beg you, and you are still saying, I'm not selling. So the opportunities that are in the Ibeju Lekki, Lagos, and of course the Nigerian real estate scene is unlimitless. And that is why people who have seen this future, people who understand the basic rudiments, are buying in acres. They are buying in bulk. No one wants to repeat, the same mistakes, the same investment mistakes. When we talk about investing, we that we are giving these advices are also investors. So there are some certain things. Questions have started coming in. So I think I'll be responding to some questions very quickly. But these are the basic things that you need to do. So how long do I have to wait if I'm investing in the Ibeju Lekki axis? The longer you wait, the more profits you get. I've had investors who have called me and said, Adejare, this my 2 plots in Folu, I want to sell. I said, no, man, hold it. Hold on, don't sell it yet. I've had people call the one I have in Shangotedo. I say, of all places, Shango, please don't try to leave it. Shangotedo that they will still carry 100 million and come and beg you. And you will tell them I'm not selling. In fact, in this I stay in the Ibeju Lekki axis, so I can tell you what is going on as far as return on investment is concerned. If you have land that has C of O in that airport axis, trust me, you have hit jackpot. In fact, you own a gold mine. If you see the rate at which real estate developers are running after titled lands in the Ibeju Lekki, it's massive, because you see, that is where the future is. So don't worry about how long it will take to develop. Worry about how much you will make when it develops. So that should be your investment goal. And there's future in Ibeju Lekki. There is. I remember when Elenrogbe used to be very, very sandy. Like if we are driving towards that Elenrogbe axis, then back then, if you don't own an SUV, you can't get, there is a limit to where your car can get to. You see that same Elenrogbe as I'm talking to you right now, real estate companies that have bought properties to the end, they've started tying the road. They've started tying the roads. And give those companies 1 year, you start seeing solar power street lights. And this was a land on where there was this particular investor I've been talking with, where we had a land there that sold for 8 million naira. That was around 2000, and I'm trying to remember the actual time. I think it was around 2020. What am I even saying? 2021, 2022. So I was speaking with this there real estate investor. I said, we have a gazetted land in this particular place. So, and I think the developer just wants to sell because he needs funds to put development in those axes. And I was talking with this particular investor, and the investor was saying, hey, I sent my brother there. He drove. He said his car could not get in. So what is the effrontery that you guys have that you are selling the place I cannot access with land with my car, for 8 million naira? Say all of you are thieves. All of you are the one that is spoiling Nigeria. The man has said different kind of thing. I just the thing basically is that I don't know how to convince people. Now, I think this particular investor now heard of the announcement of the international airport, and he called me and said, that land, is it still available? I said, so actually, sir, the land is no longer available, but we can still get you something within that axis. And the man asked, for how much? He said, can I still get for 8 million naira? I said, 8 million naira cannot even get you land in Folu, and Folu is several minutes away from there. I said, land right now, if the developer wants to be considerate, is from 20 million naira upward. And I even gave categories of land the investor can get. I said, we have gazetted land, we have governor's consent land, we have C of O land, we have land with government allocation. Which one do you want? So I said the cheapest, which is even government allocation, is from 29, 30 million. And the man was like, if he had known, he wouldn't have, listened to his brother. That was the instruction. That was his regrets. Now, a lot of people are regretting today right now because you see places that they were supposed to buy for 6 million, 8 million, that they won't have opportunity to do 1 year payment plan, 18-month payment plan right now, is they can't afford it anymore. And this is just the reality of. And the funny thing is that the longer you wait, the more expensive and the more it gets out of the reach. And this is why it is very important that you need to take advantage of some of these affordable properties. Now, this advice basically, is for an investor who wants to build generational wealth. Now, when we make videos like this, and the reason why I'm coming live basically is due to the fact that my videos are not for everybody. I need to explain that. They are not for everybody. They are for like-minded people like me. More importantly, those who want to live in perpetual wealth. Like, for instance, you want to be earning good rental income, have a good retirement plan, have a sustainable source of income through real estate. Those are the people my videos are meant for. Because I've seen a lot of people, make ridiculous comments on my comment section. And, the thing basically is that when I see some reactions, from people, it's due to the fact that majority of real estate investors have been misinformed. Many of them have been wrongly advised, and a lot of people are missing out. Now, let me also go further to say, I'm gradually getting towards the end of this particular live session. Now, let me quickly make this opinion. Now, you see, when you are investing, investment is like planting a seed. And the soil at which you are planting that seed is as important as that seed. Now, what are those basic challenges you will face if you are investing in Nigeria for the first time? Now, one of the things I want every real estate investor to understand is that Nigeria is a place whereby a lot of things are not the way they should be. However, these circumstances should not stop you from investing, because you see, it is only in this country, it's only in this Nigeria that you buy land for 7 million and people will beg you to sell for 50 million, and you tell them, I'm not ready to sell now. And you know, the funny thing basically is that your land becomes more sweeter if you have a good and reliable title, maybe from Gazette, C of O, governor's consent, and allocations like that. The moment you have a good you have a good title on your land, and that place now becomes hot cake. There was a property that we were negotiating for, a diaspora investor who wanted to build a mall in the Ibeju Lekki axis. The funny thing basically is that when we met with the owner of the property, okay, I used to do people who want to buy from owners, and the owner told us the property is along that they call the place Onishon. It's facing the road, facing that Onishon road, and the property has actually been sold to another investor anyway. We met the owner. I think in summary, there is 4 plots. Can do the land can be used for, talk about it, malls, supermarkets. It's facing the express road. And when we were doing the due diligence, because we definitely want to check, give our surveyors, let the lawyers read it, we found out that this man bought the land in 1994. Yes, so this same land, he bought it in 1994 at the rate of 400,000 per plot. And guess how much the man wants to sell the entire 4 plots? He's insisting on 250 million. That is how the industry is. So, see, it is while I was even trying to talk to the investor, the man was like, this is the deed. I said, whatever thing you guess you might be seeing here does not concern you. The most important thing that we have validate the documentation. All we just need to do is that when you buy, we apply for governor's consent in your name, because the owner of that land has even done this in such a way that there is a C of O on his name. So when we just buy, just do your governor's consent. See, as this man was, there are some people that when it comes to buying land, if they don't speak to their entire community to seek their counsels, they don't buy from them. So I was calling this investor. There's one thing I do very well, is that I don't know how to force people to make decisions, basically, because I know the actual worth of that property. I can tell you basically that even for 250 in that location, right there, we have like, I think, 5 fuel stations very close to that location. So if you own a supermarket, people can just, fuel their tank and drive in, anything you choose to do there. While our investor was still thinking of whether or not to buy, by the time this man was ready to make payment, we were told that land was bought that same day. We came for inspections. So these are some of the fundamental things. However, if you are not buying in Ibeju Lekki, okay, you need to be wary of some certain things. So today I'm going to be talking about, in conclusion, okay, my time is up. I definitely don't want to exceed my time. Now, the first thing that you need to do if you are investing in Ibeju Lekki is that you need to be mindful of Omonile encroachment. Now, I know a lot of real estate development companies have told you, buy from us, we don't have Omonile wahala, our land is 100%. There's a project that we are presently monitoring, right? I won't mention the name because the place is very popular and If I mention the name, you know the name of the developer. The first time I wanted to gain access to this project, I met some guys along the road, and that's why some places I just deliberately don't drive to some places. So when I got there, that very first day, we were told that the one of the family of the person that sold the property, one of the member of the family, imagine, sold road, an access road that entered into somebody's estate. So see, when it comes to buying property, see, real estate is not for the faint hearted though. That's why I usually pity some investors who just buy properties randomly from people. See, Lagos basically, especially the Ibeju Lekki axis right now, is not always a bed of roses. Now, that is not to say you should not invest, but if you want to invest, the people or the realtor or the people you are buying with is very, very important. So I was supposed to go in through that place, and I met the Omonile, one of the Omonile. They were heavily armed with bottles, ready to wreak havoc. So I approached one of them, and now, as Yoruba, whatever, we started talking. Before we knew it, I started discussing Arsenal with them. Now, the thing basically is I found out that these guys are very, very... So, of all the people that passed that place, I was the only one they allowed access. Why? Because I was able to relate with them. And even when they blocked that road, anytime I passed, they allowed me in. See, the fundamentals of Omonile encroachment when you're buying real estate in Lagos, you cannot underestimate. So you need somebody who knows how to relate. See, there are some realtors that, see, when they notice there's Omonile wahala, they leave you to that property. So what are those things you need to do? Basically, is that you need to work with somebody who is more or less like a resident of that community. There was a particular project to an investor bought in the Ikwakete axis, and this woman actually called me, okay, from the US, and she told me, and she asked me, okay, who are those? I asked her where. She told me the place. I said, is that not the place of Ballet? I won't mention the name of the Ballet. I said, I know the Ballet now. I said, they are not allowing your people access to the property. I said, what about the real estate developer? He said she doesn't even know, she's not even sure if that company is further existing. I said, okay, fine. I said, okay, this is our fee. This is what we charge. I will help you talk to the Ballet. We'll get to know what is happening. And today, the woman has completed her house thanks to our intervention. So we have devised a way, okay, through diplomacy, to resolve pending issues with Omonile in the Ibeju Lekki axis. And that is why some places that are tagged to be forbidden for some people, we have access. Why? Because we've come to understand basically that most of them are not as bad as they have been painted to be. I'm not trying to defend anybody, but I've just come to realize that we've stayed in the Ibeju Lekki axis, so there are some virtue of relationship we've built, some accesses we've been able to have through the help of God and through the help of good people on those axes. So when the woman called me, because I said it's a popular ballet, so I spoke with the ballet, and the ballet said I need to speak with the youth leader. Went to the youth leader, so they told us, they told us that there are some fees that this woman is supposed to pay, and they said, so they started calculating it from when she started the project. Okay, I think she started the project far back in, I can't remember, it was, I think around 2001, 2002, and this issue was around 2003, 23. So I said, this woman has to finish her house. She's abroad and she should be earning rent. They say, okay, fine. Because of the fact that the people that have been handling the project for her did not settle boys, did not do this, did not do blah, 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 blah. So they gave us a long list of the amount we need to pay, okay, before she can continue her project. Now, a lot of people were asking me, is this right? Do we need to be paying this particular money after we've bought the land, after we have paid the company? In a situation whereby the developer that sold to you is not available, you will pay. I've always said something in one of my videos for people who actually care to listen. I've said that the safety and the security of your properties in Lagos is solely dependent on the developer you are buying from. There are some that they are just selling that project to raise funds, the moment they get what they are looking for, they don't go there again. So I've said it before. So you have to be, mindful of question I've started dropping. Jesus Christ, God help me. So you can't just but ignore some of these fundamental things, okay? And you just have to look at it from that perspective. So when you're investing, be wary. So I know some people have told you no money is a lie. Is a lie. If you see a company today that you have access to your properties and there is no crisis, give kudos to that developer. There are some price that the developer has paid that has given you access to that property. Because you see, the situation has even become more intense because most of these people are aware of the amount the developers are buying are selling, and they are aware of the amount they bought from them. And that's why sometimes you need to work with a developer who have factored some of these things and how they can quickly respond to some of these issues that may. So that is number one. Be wary. So if you buy a land and the monile is disturbing you, okay, and the developer is not responding as he's supposed to, what do I do? Okay, now the thing basically is that under no circumstances should a developer sell a land that's still having issues with Omonile. Under no circumstances. But you see, sometimes it's not their fault. I need to say this. It's not their fault because you see, Lagos is generally tagged to be some areas in Lagos. So let me use Lagos holistically. Some areas in Lagos basically is tagged to be a problematic, and that is why we don't relate violently with Omonile. There is no community in Ibeju Lekki today that I entered that I don't pay homage to some people. The thing basically is that if you understand business, if you understand investment, if you understand diplomacy, where others are having problems, you will have smooth operations there. And these are some of the things that I have continually, explained to some real estate investors, basically. Now, in spite of all these things, that does not mean now, that should not sum up the situation that Lagos is not a good place to invest. Of course, Lagos is a good place to invest. So, in a situation whereby you are having issues, okay, with families or Monile, you definitely want to speak with the developer or you work with some people who can help you manage the situation. Now, a lot of people are asking me if I'm building and Omonile is disturbing, what can I do? So the only thing that I think you can do basically is that you need to call the attention of the developer. And in the situation whereby the developer is not available or is not showing response, then I would say basically that you get the best hands to help you respond to that. Because another mistake you also want to avoid basically is that you don't want to give these guys impressions that you can afford to pay anything, because the moment you do that, they will start billing you. So there is a way, okay, that which you can relate with Omonile, that you will be at peace with each other and you will also avoid spending unnecessary money. But let me just quickly talk about some of the fees. Now, if you have bought land, okay, from let me say individuals or private individuals, it is very, very, very important that some traditional rulers in that community must be adequately informed. Basically, yes, they have. If you're buying from private owners, so, and one of the things some of the circumstances or issues that you may face is the issue of, let's say, they ask you for some certain fees. Now, basically, for some of the fees you pay, let's say statutory fees you pay when you're buying from real estate development company. Now, some of these fees are being used to settle some issues with families, okay? But if you are buying, because a lot of people are buying directly. Now, I've seen instances whereby some investors have said, what this developer has calculated for development fee, statutory fees, survey and development is too much. I want to buy directly from. See, let me just quickly inform you. Now, for some of us that we have bought, I'm not trying to scare you, but I'm just trying to open you, okay, to the reality of some of the challenges you will face if you buy directly from Omonile or private individuals. Now, I know a friend of mine that was forced to sell a property that he bought somewhere in the Ibeju Lekki axis. Now, this is the genesis of the entire situation. Now, the point basically is that when this guy bought, okay, he just did some small fence, and after he completed the fence, some people entered, the property, and they demolished the fence. Now, he bought that property, I think, a year, and after he had that encounter, he was angry. He involved the law enforcement agents to do a lot of things. When he was doing the due diligence, he found out that that land, the person that sold the land, is just one fraction of the entire family that owns that property. So after he bought, he was forced to have another negotiation with the second faction of the property. And when he was having this negotiation, he was not even aware that there was a third faction of the family. In other words, for this guy to have control over the land he has paid for, he had to buy from the three families. So he bought that land 3 times. See, when we start talking about, I've had, investors said, this is distress sale. They want to sell. The thing is that many people don't know that one major reasons why some properties are tagged as distress is because of the fact that a lot of investors are being frustrated. Now, I'm not saying every property distress has issue, but what I'm trying to say from experience basically is that majority of them. So this particular friend, the reason I can come online to explain this is I witnessed this. He paid 3 times for one land. 3 times. He bought that land from 3 different families, and each family were selling at their own prices before he could allow access. So what he did, the very instant he paid the 3rd family, was he started fencing. And trust me, if he's going to sell it, it's going to factor. So if you buy from Omonile, circumstances like this can happen. Now, and I've also witnessed situations whereby they've been easy transmission of properties. Like, I bought from this person, it's a good investment, I have access to it. But you see, in the ratio of 1 to 10 that I've witnessed that kind of scenario, I would say it's not up to, in ratio of, let me rate it from 1 to 10, success ratio of 1 to 10 is not up to 5. The others have turned out to be as problematic. If the real estate developer that is even selling to you is having issues on model, how much more you? They're not, the thing basically is that many of you are not even in Nigeria. So, see, I've seen instances whereby people used to force witness to say things that are not right about an investment. And, that is why basically when they're trying to get me involved in some of those things, if I'm aware, okay, of what is happening in that location, I try as much as I can to just do what, remove myself from pending trouble. So that is it. So if you have bought land from Omonile, the first thing you are going to do basically is that ensure they sign your deed of assignment. Ensure they sign it. Now, some families charges, they don't sign deed for free. See, you'll be saying that, but I paid for this property. Ladies and gentlemen watching this video, for the fact that you paid, let's say they say the land is 10 million. If you pay 10 million, you are still going to pay for every member of the family to sign. You are going to pay if you want to start construction. You are going to pay when you start foundation. You are going to pay when you are starting decking. And you're also going to pay when you want to start roofing your properties. So these are some of the expenses that you will incur if you are buying directly from Omonile. And that is why sometimes when some investors have reached out to me personally and they said, there's this person advertising this property, do you think it's a good idea? Most times I usually say I don't know. Because I don't want to be quoted wrongly, and sometimes too, I've been misunderstood on several occasions. So it is very important for someone to be diplomatic. So I'm going to take few questions very quickly, and before I go further, so I'm going to take few questions. So I have some questions here on my WhatsApp, even from the previous video that I have. I have just 10 minutes more on this live session. So I'm going to take a few questions. So the first question is from, okay, Mrs. Mary. Okay, from where? Okay, Mrs. Mary says she bought a land of excision in the airport. Asks this, is my investment safe? Okay, all right. I've said it before in some of my live sessions, and I've explained some certain things that I'm also going to explain now. Now, the first thing basically is that if the title is not C of O, if the title is not governor's consent, if the title is not government allocation, I have advised several times that perfect the title. Now, the reason why you have to perfect the title does not necessarily mean that government may want to come and collect your land. We have seen several instances, okay, of what may attract government interest in a particular locations. I've said it several times, and I'm going to say it again. Now, you see this airport, okay, that is under construction. If you are buying properties within those axes, don't buy excision and go and sleep. If you have bought excision from a real estate developer, push the developer to get a C of O. In a situation where you notice the developer is reluctant, go ahead and get your C of O. If it is your own plot in that land, in that estate that will have C of O, have it and go and rest. Because you see, government is not predictable. See, the rate at which demolitions have happened several times in Lagos is alarming, and it's something. And that is why I've been reluctant. If it is not CO that is on Gazette and some other things, but if the area that you are buying that property, okay, is a place where government interest is, please. Now, when you perfect your title, even if anything happens, you can be rest assured that whatsoever they bring, your investment is protected. So that is just it. So I'm not saying if your land is excision, government will take it. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying if you have Gazette, it is not safe, because a lot of people misunderstood most of my explanations. All I'm saying basically is that if situations happens and something changes in the future, because as far as Lagos is concerned, you can't predict government, and that is why it is always advisable to perfect your title. Okay, so I have also another question from Mr. Sam. Oh, I hope it's not the Sam I know. Okay, this is also Mr. Sam. Plus 234 802 132 7360 is the number. It's available on WhatsApp. Please don't call me. I'm on live session now, but you can drop a message for me on WhatsApp, and I will respond to that. I have some couple of questions, so I'm going to take the number again. Okay, so the number is, if you are in diaspora watching this video, just add plus 234 in front of the number. Plus 234 802 132 7360. So I'm going to be taking a lot of questions. Okay, my time is up. I only have just 10 minutes more. I did not plan to stay this long, but there are some things. So okay, so someone said, can you send me a list of properties on the axis? Yes, of course. Immediately after this live session, thank you. You have sent us a message. We will respond accordingly. So okay, this is also another question. This question is saying, does that mean we have to wait forever? Certainly no. The reason why I'm always making reference is basically is that one thing I've come to learn about the way things work in our Nigeria is that if government says a project will be ready in 5 years, okay, uh, don't put your mind on that 5 years. So for you not to be disappointed, you can add extra 1 or 2 years, because you see, in the course of that construction, anything can happen. Power can change hands. So you understand? But that does not mean that that thing will not be done. It will be done, but basically it is that, and that is also a similar situation if you are buying off plan. See, if you are buying off plan in Lagos, and the developer says, "Don't worry, in 2 years the estate will be fully functional," and they're now using that 2 years to plan that, okay, I want to sack my landlord. The real estate investor. Please, oh, look before you leap. Oh. Now the thing basically is that if a developer promised 2 years, give the developer 1 additional year, because from experience we've come to understand that getting electricity, putting a lot of facilities, also have it in mind that developers will have to make 1 or 2 corrections on the construction. So plus or minus, the 2 years may end up being 3 years. So for you not to be discouraged or disappointed, it is very important that you give additional, timeline, so that if that thing does not happen within that specific time, you know that yes, I give them additional time, and of course the project is ready. So that is one of the things you need to say. So I also have another question here. Oh, time is up. Thank you, Mr. Director. Don't worry, we'll round off very quickly. Okay, so this person says, so how can I avoid Omonile? Okay, how do I even explain this now? Now it depends on when you're buying. There are some locations that you don't have issues with Omonile. You will build, and you will have access to your property. Nobody will disturb you. But some of those places could be outside the Lagos. Let's say Ijebu, the Ogun axis, the Muwi of other axis. So you understand. But when it comes to, because of the fact that real estate has become a valuable commodity, and that is why a lot of people um, are showing a lot of interest in Lagos. So that is it. So you really want to look at that and then put that into consideration. So avoiding anomaly basically means working with the right person. So that's just one of the basic things. Okay, so this is where I'm going to draw today's curtain of this our live session. I want to quickly apologize for starting very late. There were some circumstances and situations that were way beyond my control. I want to appreciate everybody. My Oga Miss the MD of Alpha Mark Homes. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you. And Mr. Abdul Latif, thank you very much for watching. Please, I got your message. I'm going to respond very quickly. I've been on site all morning, so I'm going to respond to that. Mr. Victory, the one and only engineer in Ibeju Lekki, my brother, my Unilag, Akokite, Mr. Dio, thank you. Of course, my beautiful wife also joined the live session. Thank you very much. And so I'm going to be drawing today's curtain. Of course, for further questions, I will also be responding to that in our next live session, which by the special grace of God will be next week. So I'm going to be dropping a video on my YouTube channel, and of course I'll be sharing the link on my Facebook and also across my LinkedIn so that people can watch. Trust me, you don't want to miss that tomorrow's video. It's going to be mind-blowing. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week Tuesday. Bye for now.